Legislative session nearing its end, or is it? 25 News Now Sunrise anchor Carolina Estrain gets the latest on school vouchers from Texas Tribune Capitol reporter Renzo Downey.
We're just a few weeks away from the end of the legislative session at the Texas State Capitol. We're hearing now from Renzo Downey. He is a Capitol reporter with the Texas Tribune on the latest. Welcome, Renzo.
Good to see you.
So, Renzo, Senate Bill 8, school vouchers. What a contentious issue it has been for at least a decade here in Texas. And how is it looking? Is there a possibility of a special session for this bill?
Yeah, well, it sounded like this bill might not be moving out of the House. The committee chair for that committee has said he's not really looking to put that bill up to a vote. And so, the votes for that bill just aren't in the House right now, it seems. And so what that's going to mean is this has been a big priority for the governor, and he's already threatened to veto this bill that isn't getting a vote. He says he wants kind of a broader school voucher bill. And so he's probably going to call a special session. And the rumor right now is that's going to be kind of later in the year, in the fall. So we'll see what happens in this last week of the session and whether lawmakers can avoid that special session.
Right, because if we do go into a special session, we're going to be hitting some budgetary deadlines, maybe a little bit too closely.
And potentially.
All right, and what about the trans issues happening at the Capitol? There are two bills in particular, Senate Bill 14 and Senate Bill 15, that are top of mind.
Yeah, so one of those bills is a bill that would ban transgender-related care for minors. And that bill has made its way out of the legislature now. Both the House and Senate passed it, agreed on a couple of differences that they had with that bill, and so now it's going to be up to the governor, and he's already said that he's going to sign that one. And the other bill is about transgender athletes in college sports. And that bill is passed both chambers, just a couple more differences to iron out, but that should be on its way to the governor soon.
And how about Senate Bill 147, our very own state senator, Lois Clokhorst? She authored this bill, and it's prohibiting foreign-owned persons and entities from countries that we're not so friendly with from starting a business here in Texas.
Yeah, so it would restrict the purchase of economically important land, so like farmland, mining land. There'd be restrictions around whether companies from China, Russia, the list of countries that the U.S. has flagged as adversarial nations. So there'd be restrictions on them, but this bill doesn't really seem to be moving out of the House. Some supporters for the bill have kind of been raising the alarm that, hey, we're running out of time on the session here, and this bill isn't moving out of the House. So once again, week left in the session, we'll see whether that ends up moving.
Yes, it's quite interesting. Prohibiting the purchase of land, that's right, not starting a business, but buying land doesn't hurt when you're doing that. So Renzo, thank you so much for this update. Is there anything else you want to share with our viewers?
There's a whole lot going on this week, so I'm sure I could talk about absolutely everything, but I'll save them that trouble.
All right, well, we'll catch up with you next week. Thank you so much, Renzo.
Thanks, Carolina. So this brings us to your viewer poll this evening. You can scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. So the question, would you support a school voucher program here in Texas? Yes or no? It looks like 30% say yes, you would, and 70% say no. Thank you for voting. You can always come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to participate in those viewer polls.